Hello,
Hello, Raj.
good
How are you?
afternoon. I'm doing great, thank you. And how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How's the new week?
Uh, it's just started, and
This.
I have
Mhm.
started reading the book, and I finished one chapter of that uh,
Okay.
Harry Potter, Philosopher's Stone.
The Philosopher's
So,
Stone. How do you find the book?
yeah, yeah, it's interesting. The one thing that I
Hmm.
found was at times I found it difficult to understand. So I analyzed
Okay.
that since I have had the practice of reading self-help improvement books, most of these books
Mm.
are very common English. They use very common structures, so it's easy to understand for everybody. So I think
Yes.
novel is a good one for uh, for improving our skills because the more we read,
Yes.
the more we will be able to understand it, or will
Mm.
become better at it. So on that front, I was trying to ask you one question: that how do you rate reading between these two things, reading self-help or reading novel, especially
Okay. So that,
if you are focusing on improving the English part.
okay. So before giving the answer, that's a beautiful point that you have put forth. Self-help books or motivational books. Okay. And novels. Novels could be fantasy, non-fiction, fiction, whatever.
Right,
Now, you have read one chapter and you've analyzed, you have understood something, you've identified with the difference.
right.
First thing is the language is different. But as
Yeah,
a common reader and also being a teacher, why do you think there is a difference apart from the language? Now you began reading Harry Potter's book, and that's completely connected to fantasy, wizardry, all that. But still, it's a novel. It's a series. And you were reading, you are used to reading self-help and motivational books. So already you mentioned it's
yeah.
because of the language, structure of sentences. But apart from that, why do you think it's very different?
Another thing that is different, since this is not my first novel, I have read a few of them, and
Hmm.
I even tried to read Shakespeare, which was the toughest for me. The
Shakespeare's
one
which
thing that
work?
comedy of errors, and
Comedy of Errors.
yeah,
Okay,
and another one I can't recall right now. But
that's
if
okay.
I talk about the differences, the first is that we have to connect with the story. We have to
Mm.
constantly recall the different characters of the story to understand it in a
Mm.
better way. Especially, I found
Yes.
it difficult while reading Comedy of Errors because too much of confusion was there.
Hmm.
So I think that is another point that we have to think about while reading all these things, and maybe that is the main point of these books that we get hooked to or we enjoy it in a better way.
Mm.
So it's
Okay.
interesting and tough at the
Mm.
same time as well.
Good observation. So I'll add to these points. Whatever you have mentioned, all the points are correct. Now, adding to that, I'm just going a bit deep. Okay. Shakespeare, Harry Potter, some of the novels, some of the series that we read. Now, leaving apart Shakespeare, you have got the original works and also the abridged versions. Abridged means something that is easier to understand and decipher. Okay,
Right.
Shakespeare definitely used Old English, and some of the words are not do not exist now. Non-existent words are there. So some of the things you have to even read the notes to understand. But still, when you read the abridged version, also it's a bit difficult to completely keep things in mind because of the number of characters, division of scenes, and acts. ACTS. So if you don't
Right.
read the first act, the first scene, you may not understand what's happening after that, because it
Yeah.
will have lot of analytical episodes. And Shakespeare is very good with playing games, means pun with words. He's excellent with that. So if you really don't understand
Yeah.
the context, it can really confuse you, or you may not even taste the richness of the work, not the language. Keep the language apart. Harry Potter has also got many characters. As such, as a work, lot of characters are there. You take every novel that's part of the series. J.K. Rowling has added many characters. She's introduced a lot of characters. Okay, one good thing about play,
Yeah.
Shakespeare has written a lot of plays. One good thing about play is you have all the characters in the beginning. So and so, Duke
Right.
of Edinburgh, blah, blah, blah. They'll write all the characters and the significance of the character. But when it comes to a novel, that's not the case. You have to read, understand, oh, so Harry Potter is the protagonist. And then this person, these are his friends. Like that, you have to understand. That's one thing, correct? Lot of characters. Even if
Right.
the characters are only two, let's bring it down to two characters in a novel. Most of the time, the motivational books give you suggestions, guidelines. They give you advice from real life only. Now, if you read Psychology of Money, and there are some other books also, like self-help books, that gives a lot of examples. They give a lot of examples connecting with great economics. You can say businessmen, marketing people, people into marketing, authors, and all that.
Yeah.
So it's easy to understand.
Right.
But still, it's not completely advice. You don't get only guidelines as you have an example, a guideline, two examples, guideline. It's like a conversation sometimes. So
Right.
self-help books are always written in simple English most of the time, except a very few books. Except few ones, all the others are written in comprehensible language. Okay?
Yeah.
Which means they also satisfy the market. They satisfy the common people. Now, when it
Right.
comes to novels, everybody will not like reading fantasy. Everybody will not like reading detective novels. Some
Right.
people only love romance.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's the style of the author. That's the first thing. Because it's presented from the perspective of the author.
Right.
Second thing could be it's all connected to life, you know. There would be a lot of expressions connected to life. Like when you read Harry Potter, the game Kidditch itself, you can visualize. If you read very closely, yeah, if you read again and again, you'll be able to visualize the game. You'll be able to visualize each and every scene. So
Right.
whenever I watch the film and whenever I read the book, I feel the book is such a magnificent work. It cannot be compared to the film. The film has done justice, but still, that's the writing where you visualize, you get to visualize everything. So
Yeah.
real life contexts are there, phrases are there, language, and some of the words will also be different.
Right.
Okay, but self-help books are totally different where they give you some parameters, some studies will be there, case studies will be there. But remember, not all books are like that. Now, recently I was reading one book, it's called The Myth of Normal. The Myth of Normal, I'm still reading that book. It's not written in simple language because it deals with psychology and the mind. One thing is it has got a lot of psychological terms, medical terms are there. Another thing is a lot of case studies are there. And then the guidelines come in. So
Okay.
this person is an author, he has gone through a lot of mental trauma, and also he's into counseling. So all the three facts come into his book.
Yeah.
But it's a self-help book. It's a motivational book. It also deals with health. So these are some of the aspects of reading books. Now, when you asked me whether which type of genre helps me with reading. I think I delve into everything, all the types.
Yeah.
What I look at is the content. Usually, I choose something that's connected with literature, psychology, people, less of romance until and unless there's some twist. If there's some twist, I will indulge in such books. But otherwise, it's more about detective, then sometimes science fiction. Some of them are really great. Psychology, most of the time. Shakespeare has got a lot of books dealing with psychology. I mean, most of the works deal with psychology. When you introspect, when you dissect the characters. But still, I don't read all the plays just like that. So this is what I like. But when it comes to language, anything can be of help. Look at the words, look at the sentences, because the same sentence can be written in other ways also in some other book. Like when you read Harry Potter, you will read a particular situation. Okay, suppose they are having food at the table. So Harry was sitting at the table, and then she describes about that dining hall in the school at Hogwarts. That's a
Okay.
different experience. She takes you through the experience. Actually,
Right.
she's taking through the experience where you have the floating candles and all that. I'm just giving you an example. Then the philosopher's stone. So such kind of things, you will be able to relate with only few things, but you feel as if you're walking in some other world. So
Definitely.
that is also language. That's also language.
Right.
When you read self-help books, that is also language, the style of the author. The author is again walking you through his experience, through some advice. So I think
Right.
everything is adds to your constructively adds to your language development skills and the way you use words. Definitely, yes.
Yeah. And on the part
Yeah.
of reading novel, I mean, when I was reading the first chapter and the the author was explaining about the different characters, I got to know that a cat turning into a some professor, what? So
Yes.
that
At the
was
school.
a different thing.
Yes, yes.
And, I mean, that was amazing as well.
Yes, that was amazing. It's not something that happens in daily life, but the world of wizardry. See, she has she has used fantasy, wizardry, and magic. But
Yeah,
if you take a closer look at all the characters, it speaks a lot about the real life also. See, there are villains, there are people with bad intentions and good intentions also. People who want to help, people who are generous and also into adventure. Harry Potter is a person who falls into adventure deliberately also. You ask him not to go to a place, he will go to that place. But at the same time, he's generous, and there are things that you will discover as you read. So
yes,
through magic, this is what J.K. Rowling wanted to show to the world. And of course, it's amazing, as you said, because it's relatable to all children around the world and also even to adults. Like just like how you enjoy the book,
I
the same way children also are enjoying the books. And that's why it's the best sold. It's one of the best sold copies. You know, it comes under the best million sold copies list.
and that's why I decided to try it because I had gotten many recommendations for the same, and
Mm-hmm.
I was not even aware of the movie. So the moment I purchased and I was sharing with somebody, then I got to know that there is a movie series as well. So that was
Yes.
also
Yeah, you can explore. Like today, we have a lot of books in the market, and uh, we can be proud that we have a lot of Indian authors coming up. Genuine, good Indian authors in the market where they introduce words, and there is something known as Indian English also. It's not just the British and the American. Because of our Indian authors, our English is also getting accepted because it is close. It's almost standard. See, because of political reasons, we follow the standard English. That is British English.
yeah.
So, because of the plethora of Indian authors, we have Indian English, and they use beautiful language to express themselves. So, you can try some of those.
All right.
Yeah. Yes.
And since we are talking about the differences between British English or American English, so Indian English as well, for that matter. So when we talk about the differences in pronunciation, or in fact, not pronunciation, the accent, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So, which one should we follow? Or
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have had this discussion many times, but what I have come to on a conclusion that we should follow one for sure if we are following whether British or American. And Indian is almost similar to British. Only
Mm.
the dialect changes, but most of the time when we talk about pronunciation, our English
It's very
matches
close. True, true.
pretty
Yes,
close to British.
yes. Yeah, that's a good question. I have also spoken about this topic on my YouTube channel. So again, this is a common question. See, whenever you Google a word, for example, schedule, I always take this example.
Yes,
Um, they give you three types of pronunciation, British, American, and Indian. All the three are accepted. So as you rightly said, British is very closer to Indian pronunciation. Now we cannot take these two as two different entities. Like this is pronunciation, this is accent.
right,
Okay, they are not similar. So when you take schedule, the Britishers say schedule, and Indians say schedule. That is also correct. It's more flat. Schedule. What's your schedule for today? But Britishers will, what's your schedule for today? It's more awe. Okay, I'm just giving you the easier way to understand.
of course,
But if it's Americans, what's the schedule for today? It's flatter, it's like, they run on the words. All the three are accepted.
right,
Okay? Now, accent is very specific to the region. This is accent, this is pronunciation. Pronunciation is the way you throw sound. That is important. The way you throw sound, like you cannot say schedule, that is wrong. Schedule is wrong.
right,
Just listen to the Indians because we are Indians. Indian pronunciation it is schedule. So that's correct. The
yeah,
way the Indian throws the sound is correct. So that is pronunciation. But accent means something that's specific to a particular region or a country, whatever you want to specialize in. But there also you have the play of pronunciation.
right,
Okay. Now, which one to follow? So, as Indians, we always follow RP, that is received pronunciation, which is British accent.
right,
That is the Queen's English. It used to be, the Queen's English. Even now it's the same, which is very close to standard English, right?
right, yeah,
But today we don't have the Queen, okay, Her Highness. And today we follow something that's standard, which is very close to the English pronunciation accent because they are the native speakers. They are the native speakers of English. And one more thing is, in India, we have a lot of American companies, travel agencies operating. You can choose the accent that you're familiar and comfortable with. It's up to you. And some people also have a mix of both, mixing both and then bringing about. As long as you pronounce the words properly, there's no problem. See, you would have listened to Africans, people from the Middle East speaking in English. They have
yes,
strong mother tongue interference, but they have a beautiful way of articulating the words because the pronunciation is right.
right,
So if you listen to people who are part of international organizations, they say, I'm from Africa, I'm from the Middle East, or I'm from this particular part of the country like Japan or China. They may not have the British or the American accent, but they will have that stylized way of pronouncing the words right. So that is what is expected of us as Indians. But Indian pronunciation is accepted because we have Indian English,
right,
right?
yeah,
But as a tutor, I would say like I personally follow whenever I have a doubt, I check Cambridge English, I check Cambridge dictionaries, and sometimes unknowingly also I use American English when it comes to spellings because you have all the gadgets operating with the American softwares, so it's inevitable.
yeah,
But otherwise, consciously, I make note of words from Cambridge dictionaries, Oxford, or I listen to people, authors from that part of the world. That doesn't mean we don't have good American authors. Beautiful authors are there. In fact, who are doing much better than the others, even Indian authors. So it should be a mix. When it comes to learning, you should expose yourself to different people. But yes, you can follow one distinctly.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
as long as you pronounce the words properly, I don't think there's going to be a problem.
And even if we
Even
mix that is also not a problem, I guess.
Sorry?
I mean, even if we mix sometime British or
Yeah,
American,
it's not a problem
then
as long as it happens to me also. Like some, I have American friends, I have people from the part of UK also. So whenever I speak to them, they have a different kind of accent. So I get influenced sometimes. And some words could be slightly Americanized. Sometimes it will be purely Indian. Sometimes it will be British. And at times I could be making a mistake also.
I mean, how does it make a difference? But when you are talking with somebody and he or she pronounces it schedule or a schedule, privacy or privacy, if you are able to understand, it's not a big deal. That's what I
Yeah,
feel.
true, true, very true. As long as you don't say something else like privacy. For example, the word opportunity. Okay, generally people say opportunity, wrong.
Yeah.
When you tell this to a native speaker, they may ask you, what? Excuse me, beg your pardon?
Yes.
Opportunity. So they will understand, oh, opportunity, job. Now in India, we say job. You just listen to the NDTV news readers or our national channel news readers. They are using Indian English pronunciation, which is so nice, audible, clear, good enunciation and articulation. And you can really understand it much, much better than the American speaking, running on the words.
Yeah.
Yes? And beautiful English, I should say.
Definitely.
Right? Yeah. So it's only because of the contribution of people who speak good English in India, the authors, the linguists, and people who work behind all these things. So we have people from our country also, but only thing is do justice to the word. Speak English like English. Whether it's Indian, Canadian, Australian, New Zealand, whatever, speak English like English. Don't mix it up
Certainly.
and make it sound like something else, destroying the language. Same thing, like when foreigners come and speak Hindi, they always check with us. Did I pronounce your name right? Is it
Yeah.
correct? Did I make a mistake? They try their best. So we
Definitely.
tell them, no, no, it's okay, it's fine, you've done it well. So like that. So they try their best to learn our dance, our culture and all that. Just like that. I'm speaking about people who are open to feedback, not about the others. So like that, we should do justice to our own languages and also English, not just English. We cannot speak Hindi like some other language. Wrong. Do justice to the beauty of the language.
You're right.
Same thing. Good. That was a good. You had put up a lot of good questions. I hope I answered all the questions.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, right. So what about your journey with the advanced language? So that's why you've begun reading
Yeah.
novels
I
you're
thought of
using.
reading
Yeah.
novels and I have started that. So maybe
Hmm.
something will change from here onwards.
Definitely. Definitely it will because it comes with reading and we all are still learning it. And one more thing is sometimes we refer the pronunciation of a word because of the environmental influence, because of the atmosphere, you can lose your pronunciation. This has happened to me. When you're surrounded with people who don't have good pronunciation, you may end up pronouncing words the wrong way despite knowing the correct pronunciation. It has happened to me, frankly. So
Yeah.
what you should do, all of us should do this. That is, we are not living in an English speaking country. We have to keep listening to a lot of content in English and remind ourselves that this is the thing. See, for example, the word deliver, Deliver. Because of the environment, we may say deliver. No, it's
Deliver.
deliver. Deliver is wrong. Deliver is wrong. Deliver, delivery.
Right.
It's
And
somewhere between
another word,
E and A.
yes.
Yeah.
Another word that comes to my mind right now is development. So no matter
Yes.
how much we
True,
try,
true, true.
we end up
True.
saying development
Yes.
instead of
I
develop.
had problems with such words because people around you say development, development, development of the country. It's development.
Yeah.
So that is pronunciation actually. So you just check Indian pronunciation, they will say development, but it'll be flat. Development.
Right.
Correct. That's it. Okay, Raj, as usual, time flies when we speak.
Yeah.
So happy reading and meet you again.
See you in another session. Bye for now.
Bye, 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 bye.